Hi guys, welcome to episode 27 of Get Your Buzz On. I have special guest. Introduce yourself.
Oscar Dominguez.
And the better half, Loretta Dominguez.
So, everyone wanted to have you guys on the podcast to see how great the dynamic would be. And I don't know how this is going to go, so we'll see how this goes.
This could be fireworks here.
So, we actually have beer today since we're beer, so cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
Cheers.
Salud.
Happy Thursday.
Salud.
I'm going to need this after I have to do
I
this.
definitely gonna need this.
So, tell us how the switch has been and everything from farmers to BundleBee Insurance.
There's
Well,
different
ladies
dynamics
first.
to it. So it just depends on what, on the portion that we're doing. I think the transition has been great. I think it's been wonderful for our clients, giving them different options. And now with artificial intelligence taking over everything we do, I feel like we're in a better position to really service our clients and loan officers and realtors. I feel very good about it.
Oh yeah, no question about it. It was a transition that was long and waiting. It had something had to happen. We're very, very grateful for our experience with farmers and everything, but now everything has changed now, and as my wife was alluding to, because of AI, you have to have different carriers now in order to be able to offer your clients multiple choices. So, no, thank God, it's been wonderful.
Because it's it's a year now
It's been a year and a half.
that we made the transition.
Yeah.
So, why did you guys decide insurance in the beginning? Well, how long have you guys been doing it?
35 years? 35 years that we've been in the business, I think. And really, I think it's some by luck, some by accident, and a combination of all. What would you say?
Well, it was either we were going into real estate or we were going to go into insurance. And I think we both agreed that long-term insurance was the route for us. And since I think we're pretty servant nature and we have a good time with people, I think it was a good fit for us. That relationship, because a lot of times if you sell real estate, you don't really see them again. But in the insurance, you grow with them, their kids, and now we're on the third generation of kids. So it's a really pretty thing to see, to be part of their lives.
And tell people what the difference was between farmers and BundleBee. Because people might not know the difference between why we made the transition.
Do it, Dee.
Well, when we were with Farmers is obviously a very good organization, good company, and we have nothing but high regards for it. However, it's very difficult because of artificial intelligence now to represent one company, simply because there's so many good companies out there now, and every company, like whether it's Travelers, Progressive, Safeco, Nationwide, all these companies have a certain niche that they're looking for, and people don't understand how artificial intelligence works. So what happens is they all have a specific market or a niche that they're looking for, and when customers' credit changes or activity changes, they fall out of those barriers, and the rates are going to be impacted by that. And if you don't have any choices, well, you can't really help a customer because you only have one option. Now we have multiple options. We have a full array of options that we can help them. So if a customer's credit score is bad to really good, or they change them, we can always help and make sure that they're always getting a competitive rate.
You know, when you represent one company, you're working for that company. Now we don't work for a company, we work for the client. So we're their brokers for life. If the price goes up over, 10, 15%, depending on what the client, if they want to go ahead and shop it around, that was where we were getting suffocated, and our relationships, we were losing 30-year relationships because of that suffocation of only being able to represent one company. This is a perfect fit for our clients to service them and our friends.
Yeah, because most consumers don't understand how artificial intelligence works, and when they're getting rate increases that are 20, 30, 40, 50% increase, they're not understanding why. And the difficulty when you represent one carrier, you have no other options to help them. And it was sad because we had a lot of these people were friends of ours, and our hands were tied. There's nothing we could do. And so now and we didn't want that. We saw that this was coming. I think we saw it, about 5-6 years ago, we saw this was coming, and we were just waiting for the technology to catch up and for things that we wanted to do, because we wanted a completely different agency now. We wanted a whole other agency. We never expected this COVID-19, and the agency that we were looking for was more digital. We wanted the convenience for people to be able to get their contracts, everything on their phone, on their smartphone. We wanted to offer the conveniences. We couldn't do it the other way. And so luckily we did it, we transitioned, and now when we had this COVID-19, we never missed a beat. We actually had
Thank
record
God.
months,
Thank God.
so it was the best thing we ever did.
No, and the support of the whole real estate community and loan officers that we've had, relationships, and you've been able to build on those relationships that your dad and I had for years has been a beautiful transition also, because it's only grown. And I feel like the feedback we get is that we service them better now with giving them options with these companies. So I think we're all a better fit for each other now.
Yeah, because most of the agents that we have right now, now they have a long-term window with us. They understand what they're going to. There's a lot of growth for them. It's a great partnership that we have for everyone. And I think now and that's the beauty that we couldn't do when we were with farmers, because we didn't have that control. Now we have full control of pretty much what we want to do. So it's a great deal for our agents. It's a great deal for our customers, and we love it. We just love it.
And the switch was, we were very much based in El Paso, and our business was El Paso or this region. We are blown out Texas now. We can write in every part of Texas. We have companies that are ramped up to write in certain parts of Texas. So it's totally different. We're able to really service throughout.
With other companies, we could also write it in Texas, but it was
a lot of moratoriums.
It was more. It's harder to do because one company could not fit everybody. Like for example, farmers had real restricted areas in the Houston area. And so we had customers in Houston that we couldn't service, but now we can, simply because we have other more carriers that are willing to write in certain areas that they're considered more high risk or because of weather related. Now we have companies that will fit that market.
Yeah. What has been some of the biggest changes from when you guys started to now, insurance wise? I mean, you guys have a ton, but
to me, it's just the freedom and flexibility.
Well, to me, back in the day, you sat with families and you really customized their policies. You really took time getting to know them. They came in, or originally when we started, Dad, I would make the appointments, or I would solicit different clients. He made home appointments as we started in the business. So most of our first 2 years in business were going out and visiting families, and that part I do miss of that relationship with people. But now people are so busy that this transition that we have of being able to do everything through an e-signing or things like that, it's a lot more convenient for them. But we do have to put extra work into building that relationship. And the beauty of the brokerage is that now we don't have to lose it if a renewal comes up. We can continue to build relationships but just do it over the phone now a lot of times, and some of them will still pop in.
Well, we also do. Now we have all the technology. Now our clients are able to do things virtual. Our agents do virtual quotes. They do physical quotes. They can do whatever they want. They have all the flexibility in the world now.
But we started to see that trend about 4 or 5 years ago with farmers. They didn't want to come in for appointments.
Yeah.
They wanted the emails and the e-signatures and things like that. So that it was going that trend anyway.
Well, when it came to, because you guys started before online shopping, internet, got a little old.
Applications, manual applications.
So, someone wants to buy insurance and they go online. What's the difference between us and going online?
Well, you got to remember when people are buying insurance. There's multiple ways. There's what they call direct writers, like Geico, and they have one template. They give you that template. Here's what they have. That's all it is. Not necessarily, but you don't necessarily means that's the best deal. That just means it's a faster process because it's only one thing. Same thing like a captive agent. They only have one contract, so they're only rating one contract. For us, it's different. It may take a little bit longer, probably I would say about another 5-10 minutes. but our agents are going through exploring multiple carriers, and the technology we have today, they're able to look at different carriers. It may, like I said, it may take a little bit longer, but now we can bring in more value because we can see which carriers have the best contract for them. Because you have to understand, an insurance policy is a legal binding contract, and not all contracts are the same. And what our approach is, let's get them the best or the broadest contract first, and let's see what the price point is, and then we can always go to option 2 and option 3. But we have that flexibility now.
I just, when you're dealing with an 800 number, imagine in our staff, it probably takes an agent about 3 years to get totally seasoned on coverages and how those coverages affect you and the different contracts. And I can't imagine being able to go online with an 800 number and understand what you're buying. That's as if I was going out there and I was going to do my own loan. There's a lot of complex and laws and coverages that people don't even understand. And our agents, if you see how long it takes and the training we do with them, I don't know how anybody is qualified to buy a policy at an 800 number.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It's just the complexity of these contracts.
Mm-hmm.
People think that it's just that easy, and it's not that easy.
Yep.
There's a lot of work, and if you look at our agents, they go through a lot of training. And part of our success with farmers was education. Where if you look at like the carriers like the State Farm, Farmers, I don't know about Allstate, what they've done now, they don't have any really district managers that would train them now. They all have is more recruiters, and a lot of these agents don't get a lot of training. They have to learn as they go.
Yeah.
So it's a different deal.
Totally different.
But
What would you say made you guys successful with farmers and then to the non?
education.
I think that we always have had a servant nature of doing what's right for the client. To me, the first thing that anybody that's on our staff, I won't even go further than not taking them to a second interview with you all if I don't feel the integrity level is there. If I don't feel the servant nature that they're going to do right by that client is there. This is a relationship, a long-term relationship. It costs money to acquire a client. You don't want them leaving because they don't trust you or they don't trust your staff. So that's how I feel about it.
No, it's
I
a
think
combination
people
of
feel
those.
it too.
Yeah.
I think once they know the sincerity that they're doing, but at the end, to me, at the end of the day, it's how knowledgeable are our agents, how good are they, and do they know those contracts left and right? Do they understand those? What do they mean? Do they understand all those endorsements? Do they understand? Have they taken the time to really assess that risk? Because we're never going to be 100%. We're never going to do that. Nobody's ever going to do that. But you have to make a concerted effort to go through the time and trouble to do a risk assessment and look at everything as best as you can.
One of the things that I asked you coming out in one of the meetings about a month ago, I asked you came back, it's almost been about 8 years now, 7, 8 years now that you've been back. And one of the things that was very important for us early on was we had 2 modes of client calling us through Yellow Pages or things like that, but we had a great following of loan officers that had moved to different companies. What was your take on our reputation when you came out and revisited and started to ramp up your marketing?
You guys had an awesome reputation. No one had anything bad to say about you guys because El Paso's a small city. You can't.
Yes, it is.
Word gets out pretty quick if you suck.
Oh yeah,
If you're not honest and you don't have that integrity level, it takes a lifetime to build that character.
Well, if you have someone that wants to get in the insurance business, first of all, why did you guys decide insurance instead of real estate?
Your dad taught me residual income.
I think we exactly.
You did.
I think it was the residual income that
I was
we
like,
liked.
okay.
We like the residual income, but both industries are very, very good.
Yeah,
I think,
they both are.
and they're both wonderful, and they both have their advantages and disadvantages. And I think at the end of the day, you just decide what works for you.
Yeah. Okay, and then on the flip side, what advice do you have anyone that wants to get in the insurance business?
My deal and your deal is going to be probably
Go, Dee.
different. Look, I would tell people if they're going to go into any business, go work with someone that's very seasoned and do that. It's just like if you want to open up a restaurant, go work at a restaurant, but go do the hardest job at that restaurant first to give you an idea of, do you want to do it, and do you have the tenacity of what it's going to take to do it? Because unless you go, because my and I'm speaking for me, I've had so many friends in my 35 years that have come and gone out of the industry because they were never given full disclosure of what the business is going to be about. Just because you put your sign up there, people aren't going to walk in your door. It's a business. It's capital intensive. It's education. There's a lot of components that you have to take into consideration. So before anybody decided to sign on the dotted line, go sign a 5-year contract on a lease or anything like that, go and work with a seasoned agency to see how all the components and say, wow, could I do this? And maybe you may be better off partnering with us, because if you look at our agents that we have right now, any one of them could easily go out and do it on their own. The thing about it, we have the full transparency that they see everything of what it really takes and what everything like that. And they say, wow, am I better off doing that, taking on that challenge on my own, or am I better off partnering with someone? And that would be my biggest recommendation to anybody.
Well, I think one of the problems that happens in the insurance industry is that you also don't have people like us that are willing to share the pie. And what I mean by that is that we have nothing but the full intent to go out and to be a bigger and bigger independent agencies with our agency producers being equity owners. And a lot of your insurance agents aren't going to share in that ownership of that agency. And we feel that that's very important for them to be vested in it. And long term, we can all, when the tide goes up, we all go up with it, because we're all sharing in its success. So most people to start off with are going to be stingy and not want to share that equity. And that's not our view. That's why our whole plan that we have for our agency producers, that's why we get the cream of the crop. But we have all college educated, sharp, good looking kids, well, except for Philip, but there's nothing I can do about that.
We have a more of a partnership relationship, but when you look at the failure rate in the industry nationwide,
it's over 80%.
It's like 88%. And that's what, but these are things people, they're never told that when they come into the business. They're only told a positive side of the business. They're never told the downside of the business. And and when I've seen friends of mine that have gone into bankruptcy, divorce, everything, it's because it's not that they were bad. They just weren't given full disclosure before they committed to something like this.
Well, I think anybody that has gone through an interview process with us or has worked with us, we totally disclose the worst case scenario it could possibly be, because we want to be honest about them. We want them to understand.
Exactly.
It takes grit. It takes, this is a Super Bowl team. And if you're not a Super Bowl player and you're not going to go out there and give that grit every day, this isn't the place, because it takes time to develop. And it takes time to learn your trade, and it takes time to build relationships. So it's not an overnight thing.
Well, I think for anybody in any industry that wants to achieve any level of success, you're right. It just takes grit.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, you're not going to succeed in anything.
Well, and the other thing that is different about us is that we all have different gifts, and we recognize the different gifts. We really don't get into, for the most part, each other's what we call pig pens. We don't get in each other's pig pens. We stay out of them.
Yeah, we try to stay
the respectfully
everybody.
out of each other's, because we're all gifted in different things. As is the staff, I mean, there's certain pig pens that we don't step in with them. I mean, just respect.
When you guys moved, did the transition from Farmers and BundleBee Insurance, how hard was that, or how did that transition go?
Well, the transition wasn't hard for us. The hard part for us that contractually we couldn't contact our customers to let them know we were leaving, and for that, if any of you viewers out there, I think we'd like to offer an apology, but it was contractually we couldn't do that because there was the agents that bought our current agency that was they had contractually that was part of their agreement, and we had to honor and respect that, and unfortunately we couldn't do that, and we get a lot of friends and family that even then they didn't really say, how come you never told us about this, or how come you never said this, and we just, it was just the contractual agreement, we couldn't do it.
But luckily, a lot of them have reached out. People are looking for us. They knew that we, this is our building, so they knew that we were here, and have even stopped by and said, what happened to you guys? We're like, we couldn't tell you.
We couldn't say anything. But
unfortunate, that was the bad
but
side. That was the downside. That's the worst. If that's all the worst, that's fine.
That was it. Other than that, the other transition was easy. We already had a lot, obviously with our years of experience, we already had been dealing with several carriers already. So that part was very easy. Our infrastructure was already in place.
Yeah. So where do you guys see BundleBee in the next 5 to 10 years?
We are, obviously we do have some aggressive plans. Now we're looking at having locations throughout the state of Texas, as well as, right now we're looking at Texas, and then hopefully the next state we're looking at is Florida. Those are the 2 states that we're looking right now. We haven't identified a third state yet, but we'll do. We're looking at different acquisitions that we're doing, but we will be in Texas, multiple locations in Texas and in Florida.
Yeah.
First, it was getting it recognized in El Paso regionally, and now the state that we're focusing, like you're focusing with your TikTok and things like that, with the state. So then after that, we could, see where we want to move it from there. But that's the beauty. Now we can move it.
Yeah.
That would have been difficult under the vehicle with Farmers.
All right. Well, enough with the insurance stuff now.
No, let's stick to that. I'm afraid.
Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. I want tears. I want fights.
Uh-oh.
So
Oh, my Lord.
Well, that won't take
Well, let me put you two fighting.
That
I
won't
need
take.
the view.
That won't-
Dad and
that's-
Junior.
That's not gonna take a lot.
So, you guys have worked together for how long?
35 years.
35 years.
It's a long ass time.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for any couple that's thinking of getting into business together?
Oh my God, that's a loaded question.
I already identified it.
That's a loaded
I
question.
identified it right off the
Yeah.
bat. You better take some personality tests and things like that and see what you're good in, and stay out of each other's pig pens and make an agreement, because I wish somebody would have told us that the first 15 years, that we would try to co-manage things, and that's not the way you do it.
Yeah, you really, exactly. I think the word is co-manage, because I think that if one, it's hard when people, when couples try to work together, because obviously one person may say, look, I want to do it all this way, and the other person not. And it's a balancing act, but you're right.
And it's really,
co-management and balancing that.
I've been
is
fortunate
important.
in the sense that you're pretty easy going, so for the most part, you'll let me do 70% of the stuff, and there's a 30% I know I'm not qualified to do, and I won't even step in that arena, and I don't even go to a meeting or something that has to do with the backroom things that he's doing, legalities that he's doing. I don't want to get in.
But I think it's being reasonable with one another, and also recognizing your
strengths and
weaknesses, and also allowing other people to come in and put their perspective in it, and allowing that to them. And it's a challenge, because there's a male perspective, there's a female perspective, there's an age perspective, there's different dynamics, and I think when you got to be flexible and reasonable, that's number one thing you have to do.
You're reasonable?
I try.
No. Nicole.
Try.
Victoria Nicole.
No, none of us are super reasonable. We have to
we're all A
try.
personalities.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
No, but I mean, for the most part, it's a pretty
Yeah.
thing that the three of us work together, and for the most part, there's not really problems with it.
Well, on the marketing
Every
stuff,
once in a while, there's got to be a
I
problem that
haven't
comes
really
up.
gotten much into the marketing.
Just
You
when it
got-
comes to the coins.
No, that's it. Just how much the
Because
cost.
you think everything's
ROI,
Yeah, that's
ROI.
it.
What's the ROI?
That's
Victoria?
all I
What's the
know.
ROI?
I just handle that part, but
So
Whoever handles the budget is always going to be the whipping boy.
yeah.
Or girl. Whoever
Pretty
handles
much.
it. Isn't it true?
Oh yes.
The tax man
absolutely.
is your boss.
Oh yeah.
The bills are your boss.
Well, what's been the biggest challenges in the last 35 with running a business? What's the biggest challenge?
Recognizing the change is a part of everyday game and not resisting it. I think for me, the first 25 years was like, I just got this figured out and I have to change it again. And now I enjoy the change and I welcome the change. But it was a very big adversary of mine.
Yeah, I think you.
Yeah,
I think that's a good
recognizing when
point.
you had to change.
I think when we started, the change was slower.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
the change is so rapid now that I think that and people that don't adapt will have a hard time in any business because all businesses are changing and moving at a rapid pace now.
And I think the thing about it is all of us are outside of the box thinkers.
Yeah.
And I think that once you resist that change, that outside of the box type of personality entrepreneur that you have, you welcome it now.
Yeah.
I like change now.
Yeah,
And I'll even change things up just to
well,
change
and,
it.
and I think now more than anything, you have to be very open and transparent because, you know, I grew up in an age that I have friends of mine that were very old school, very way, and nothing was going to change them. And, you know, and other people, and it doesn't work like that anymore. You have to be very open-minded and you have to be accept the change and
Yeah.
try and move towards it. Don't just accept it, and that's all you can do.
What's the biggest stresses of running a business?
Employees.
Employees, I'd probably say,
Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10.
yeah.
Employees.
Employees are always the biggest
Can I
challenge.
chime in on this one first?
Yeah,
The
whatever you
biggest sin I think people make, and me, is seeing the potential in an applicant that I see it, I see the gift, I said I can work with that, but they have to buy in. So the bad thing about what we do is the time that it takes to train and get them up and going to find out that they don't have the heart to see the potential that, because we all three sit in an interview before we hire somebody, we see their potential, we'll point it out to each other, but we have to hope that they are going to buy into that.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of the younger generation has this. I want this instantaneous success, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. You see those, you see it, you hear about it, but that's few and far between. Most successes come over a period of time, and you have to be able to work, and you better be willing to roll up your sleeves and do it. And a lot of people, especially the smart ones, they quit, I think, too early. They give up too early, or they don't ask. They don't talk about, hey, what's gonna happen? Why this or why that? They don't ever ask, and they just give up too easy.
I think I've counted about 120 plus employees during our career of 35 years. It's a lot of years. But I think that the one thing that he and I can stand by is that we have been great mentors. That we feel that is a responsibility to mentor them and to be there for every aspect of what they need. And I feel that that's a legacy that he and I will always leave because we're teachers by trade and we care. And a lot of places, if you find a mentor that really cares about you, that really is concerned with your future, hang on to them because they're rare.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work to mentor, a lot of time. I could be
Well,
home a
what was
lot more.
Burdett when he told his son about?
Well, that's a beautiful story, Dominguez. Our old CPA. I love Tony.
Yeah, one of our first CPAs was very good, and what he was telling his son was that the same thing. He was young son, wonderful, smart. I remember he would say like, he was telling his dad, he say, hey, I don't like the way my boss is doing, how my boss is doing this, how my boss is doing that. And we said, well, look, first of all, how dare you ask him? You're not putting up any risk. You're not putting up your capital. You're not doing anything. And if you're so smart and you're so committed, well, put up your money. Put up your money and sign on the dotted line.
Well, one of the things is you'll have staff come in and right away they're wanting to change a system that you have, not understanding if they go through the whole system, they'll understand the craziness of why it was developed the way it was. And so that's kind of the maturity that they have to grow into.
Yeah, because they don't understand there's a reason why certain things are done. Because all of our transactions are all regulated transactions. So it's not, some of the times, it's not what that we want to do, it's just we have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to remember, in 35 years of being in business, with as many policies as we wrote during those years, tens of thousands, we never had one lawsuit come back where a policy was written wrong or a client claimed that we did something wrong. And that is like close to impossible. And that was our systems and the way that we had a quality and the integrity level on those policies.
Yeah, I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes and we'll continue making mistakes, but those are honest mistakes. But I think our systems and the process that we have in place, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Well, looking at the future with COVID and everything going on, what advice do you have for people right now?
For people, consumers, or you're talking about people that are looking for career? Which one are you talking about?
Both. Let's do consumers and career.
Oh my God, that's a heartfelt question to me. I don't know about you, but I would tell, I see that, we've seen a lot during our life, and I think the economy-wise, when you see the transition of what we're seeing, the retail market, what we're doing, all this stuff, I would tell people, look, you have to be able to roll up your sleeves and be committed and work with people that have something going and are going in a certain direction and work with them. And because if not, I don't know, I think you're going to have with technology, I think you're going to have a downsize in the workforce. In my opinion, I don't know if that's the case, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think change brings good and bad with it equally.
No question
so
about
I
that.
think that if you have a group of people that understand, that are like-minded and understand that it's probably going to get a lot harder before it gets easier, and you all have the same mindset. To me, the way I handle things is I will go ahead and assume it's going to be extremely hard and hope that it comes out easier, but don't go the other way. Don't think it's going to be easy and we're just going to come out of this unscaled. The whole world is changing, and we've had a long career and we've seen nothing like this.
Yeah, because now the changes are happening at a much more rapid pace.
Yeah.
But I also say don't lose hope. Wherever there's change, and if you can change and accommodate, and if you can help people in their need, you're always going to have a job.
And and for them to be flexible, because nothing's going to be perfect.
It's a pro
now.
for the young. For this generation, they needed to see this level of devastation to understand that there's nothing for sure in this world. And so they needed this is going to build character in them. Hard times build strong people. It does.
What's something you guys don't like about working with each other?
Shut up, Philip.
I don't know. I mean, there's obviously sometimes you'll get into each other's space because you're there. There's always that constant deal. Like I said, there's always going to be some disadvantages. Nothing's ever going to be 100%. But I think really that's just sometimes that if you want a break or a space. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I think that for us now, we've been doing it for so long that it's not a big deal.
I think that people don't. I think one of the upsides to the COVID is families had to get back together, depend on each other, get to know each other again, get into their own grooves, learn board games. It's a pretty side of what that part of COVID did. And it's a way that you look at it. I feel very, very thankful for everything I have. I am not deserving of any kind of life that I have. I feel very thankful that I was able to grow up, because you have to remember, I was 19 when we started out, 20 when we started out in the insurance.
Very young.
I mean, we've been very lucky for the age and the things that we've done. And the things that we've accomplished a lot. That's why I tell him, if I'm gone tomorrow, Oscar, I've done a whole lot in my life. So is he. So it's your mindset of viewing, the way you view, either in thankfulness, or you're going to be bitching about stuff all the time.
Or being optimistic, or you can be pessimistic or optimistic, and you just got to be as optimistic as you can.
Plus, we work here all day. A lot of times we don't even, all three of us
That's why
don't even
they-
get a
that's why they
chance to
have
talk to each other. Oh yeah, that's why they have alcohol. Although my host should have had tequila, but not saying anything.
Well, it's not in the office.
Not saying.
Like, we're dry. I'm like, we're dry in
Thanks,
the
Philip.
office. If someone wants to apply to BundleBee Insurance, what would you tell them before they look at coming over here?
I tell them, oh boy, when they sit in an interview with me, it's going to be an hour and a half of just the worst case scenarios of everything that could happen.
If they can't handle the truth,
Yeah.
don't even.
I tell them, go think about it and call me back. Victoria, you do too.
That's the bottom line. If they can't handle the truth, don't do it.
Yeah, because then it's all disclosed.
Well,
You want transparency.
Because you can lie to people, tell them, oh, it's going to be this great thing, and it's going to be wonderful, and the success is going to be. Yeah, but it's not an overnight deal.
No.
It's time.
How long do you think it takes somebody that starts to get really comfortable?
For us, once they re-up, they'll get comfortable in about 6 months to a year, but they'll start seeing the real benefits, where they start seeing the fruits of their labor in the 3rd to 5th year, depending on how aggressive they are.
Yeah.
That's when they start seeing
The
fruits.
payoff is the residual income that they've built. So the harder they work year 1 through 3, for example, as they start building that nest of that money, that residual income. And so that is that's the beauty of it. It's all dependent on them.
But when you talk about a 36-month to a 60-month window,
That's a short
very
turnaround for
window.
a business. Yeah.
That's a very short window. Because, now they're entering into a partnership with us where they have that support.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, the crews that go with us, if there's other businesses we decide to venture into or other things we decide to do, that loyalty and them starting with us will allow them opportunities of equity ownership in other businesses and things that we do, because we share.
Yeah.
We're kind of rare like that.
But not for all. It's not.
Válgame.
It's not for all.
Válgame.
There are certain ones that
Some of us are going to heaven, some are going to hell.
Some of them. No, but it is. It's not. It's not going to be for the ones that are obviously our A team. Obviously will.
Yeah.
And then our B team have the opportunity, but it just depends on them what they
show.
The way we have it set up is anybody can achieve. Anybody that comes into our organization, I don't care if it's from the most bottom clerical position, they can reach the success. We want everybody to have the same opportunity, but they have to earn it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna hand it to them, and we're not gonna give it to them. They have to earn it, because we want them to have the same level of commitment.
Yes.
And if they're not willing to take on that level of responsibility, no, we don't, because we're not gonna give them stuff if they're not willing to accept their responsibility.
So since we're a different type of agency, what kind of new ideas are you guys thinking that we're going to be rolling out?
Well, I have certain things in mind, but I know I'll be, your mom has certain other things in mind. I don't know what are your thoughts and your deal.
Well, before COVID started, we had discussed purchasing a trailer to go out to events. The whole idea is to support the real estate community and the loan officers and mortgage companies, and really bringing the party to them. So the whole idea was we were looking at bringing or you having either one of those little vans that come equipped with everything for the party and with the bar, and we could just open up and we could have the events there, and then all this stuff with COVID happened, and I think that's I love the idea of the girl that you had on last week. I thought she was a lovely girl to do like with the backyard parties for open houses and things like that. The marketing thing, we don't lack of. We're always keeping the premise of how are we going to partner up with our partners that serve us well, which is the real estate community and the mortgage companies.
But I think there's other things that.
That's one.
Yeah, we'll probably look at different things that I think now we can do other things such as maybe I don't know. I mean, we have. I hate to say other things because I don't know how we're depending on financially what we're able to do right now. Like for example, we have things that we want to do with that we want to bring added value services to our clients, and some of the things that we do want to bring to our clients is I think so there's some basic things that we need to make sure we provide them. And I think right now one of the things that we want to work with is with our attorneys, because a lot of our customers need legal work. They need wills, they need stuff, they need to know who they can go to for professional advice, whether it's accounting, whether it's legal, they need to know those things. And then there's fun things that we'd like to do. Maybe we'll have fun things for kids and families that we'd like to do, and that's something we can all talk about and discuss. Maybe movie nights, anything like that we can do. I'd like to be able to where we could rent a theater and invite our clients, and we can just get as creative. And I think that's the input that we'll get from our agents and everybody, and see what we can do. And
I want to go back to that added value. That's not a new concept of the added value that we've brought to our clients. Early on, we had the majority of our clients were new or young couples that no one had ever explained to them. We were lucky enough to have professionals come to us and explain to us the importance of wills, living wills, power of attorneys. If you have a couple of real estate properties, having a LLC, things like that.
Yeah.
We had those professionals and we've had those relationships for 30 years. So that's values that we bring.
Yeah. Plus,
already. That's not new. That's something we've always done.
Plus, right now I'm trying to work with other companies that we can create a partnership where they can offer our clients certain value, certain discount, certain everything, and where we can all benefit. Everybody can benefit from it, and I think those are just things that are on the table that we're looking for. So I don't know that we'll be able to do it this year, but I think in 2021, depending on how everything
with
COVID-19 works, that's the other thing. And that's why one of the reasons why we're looking at Florida, because Florida's it's a great state. It has obviously we have Disney World, we have Busch Gardens, we have everything there. We do have other businesses in Florida that we work with, and we did that intentionally. We bought another company where we have a franchise also in Florida in the Tampa area, which has happened to be a great area, and so we're looking. Obviously, that's the first city we'll probably put our Florida location in. Just because it's only 30 minutes away from Orlando. You got Busch Garden. You got
It's very
everything
similar
there.
to Austin, but on water.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very similar.
But
Very cool town.
It's a great city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of fun with that with the other business that we have.
So what's something that people don't know about you, Dad and Mom?
I think
Separately.
for us, I bet you that people don't think that we're kind of shy and very private.
Very.
I think that's probably the main thing. We don't have, people assume because we're sales that you're just out there and outgoing, but we actually are very private. We're very reserved.
Very family oriented.
Yeah, we're very family oriented. We have a very close knit group of people that we really affiliate with on a regular basis. I think that would be the number one thing.
So when someone's looking to get an insurance policy, what can they expect with us?
Well, I think with us, I'll tell you, we got the agents that we have right now. They're awesome. I mean, and I'm not saying that because they're with us. We have some very highly educated agents that are very well trained. They're great people. They're not. I think they may not be the best salespeople out there, but they're very honest. They're very honest, and they're going to tell people the truth. They're going to tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly, and they don't have to sell them. They're going to tell them the truth. And we actually told them that. I said, we don't want you to be a salesperson. We want you to be an advisor, trusted advisor. Talk to people. Tell them the truth. Tell them how things work, how the industry is, how things are working, and that's what they are. They may not be, like I said, they may not be the best salespeople in the world, but we don't want them to be a catchy type salespeople. We want them to be honest.
For sure.
Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, you pretty much in a nutshell.
Where can they find our info?
Let's see.
BundleBee.com.
BundleBeeAgency.com. We have, hopefully we're getting ready to roll out more and more marketing, and hopefully they'll be able, but that would be the first place, our website.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys for being on the
Well,
show.
thank you for having us.
Of
And we didn't
course.
even embarrass her.
And we didn't
could've.
embarrass you, we tried.
We had a lot of material.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Salud.
Love you.
Love you. Love you. Love you.
Well, thank you guys.